Will you run out of money? Yes or no? And you should know this answer off the top of your head. If you've planned well, the answer should be yes. Or yes, we won't. Or we will not run out of money. And if you haven't planned well, the answer might be, I don't know, or we probably will. You should know the answer before it becomes the problem. One of the biggest planning factors is where. And where can be for lots of reasons. But you would like to have the control of deciding where you're going to spend your sunset years. And you have to think about services and taxes. And if you're relocating to be near family, what's the agreement that they're going to be there for the rest of your years? What if the family you're moving close to, the primary breadwinner gets a job 2 time zones away? You have to think about these things before you pack your bags and relocate. Most people want to stay home. Now, that might be a downsized home, and that would be a wise thing to do proactively. At some point, perhaps because of safety, you might need to go to an assisted living center, and there's a broad spectrum of those. And you have to consider whether it's a private pay facility and if you have the ability to make those payments outside of any kind of government assistance. Part of that calculus is, what if I end up there a really long time and I run out of money and now I need, let's say it's Medicaid. Well, what if they're only a private paid facility? Well, you have to be moved out when you're probably likely pretty frail, or they might have a certain proportion of their occupancy allocated to Medicaid. But is there any kind of guarantee that there'll be a vacancy in the Medicaid spectrum? And then, of course, you have to plan for Medicaid. A lot of tough financial decisions, and you can see you'd rather not be making them in the moment. You'd rather have these scenarios covered proactively. Another thought is a continuing care, retirement, or lifestyle community. Now, there's a whole spectrum of these as well, which is good to have choices. Each one might have multiple pricing structures. And then, of course, different locations will have its own way of operating that. And I bring that up for multiple reasons. Because costs that are specific to long-term care legal definitions can be deductible. And if those costs are itemized and you already have a long-term care insurance policy, the LTCI, long-term care insurance policy, then benefits can be used to reimburse those eligible long-term care expenses. But if not, if those expenses are not itemized, then a long-term care insurance policy might not be of any value. The point is, if you have a long-term care insurance policy, make sure you bring it with you when you're visiting these types of communities. And if you get serious about one, you need to seriously analyze and evaluate if that policy will be of value. If you decide you want to join, get on the waiting list for a CCRC, and you haven't purchased long-term care insurance, then you would want to have that similar discussion with the administrator of the facility, of the community, and see if it even makes sense to get long-term care insurance, because it might not. And these facilities are wonderful, but they're not cheap. They're typically thematic. They might be, for the adventurous type, they might be for, a Christian or denomination based. There's all kinds of ways that they're established, which is wonderful for a sense of community. And you get care starting out let me back up. Actually, you go into these not needing care, you go into them living independently, but then as you can't live independently anymore, they'll move you into the level of care that you need. And a lot of times your price doesn't change. It's already prepaid, or it's a level payment, or there might be an incremental price, but you're already evaluated financially before you go in there, so that it shouldn't be problematic. Anyway, as you can see, these can get complicated, but once you're through the process of getting in, a lot of people really enjoy these facilities. These, I should call them communities, because that's really what they are.